Spoiler alert!
Silent Hill has never been about a physical place. It's a personal hell crafted from the mind of a single tormented soul. In Silent Hill F, we are invited into the mind of Shimizu Hinako, a young woman living in 1960s Japan, whose world of serene beauty is being consumed by a nightmarish plague of flesh and flowers. This is the story of a woman whose life is not her own. A woman caught between the crushing weight of family duty, a divine fate she never asked for, and the desperate, rebellious desire to make her own choices. Her mind has become a battleground for two competing selves, and the fate of both her and her town depends on which one wins. And today we're breaking down the complete, intricate story of Silent Hill F. We will explore the tragic life of Hinako, explain the divine lore of the feuding gods, and analyze all 5 endings to uncover the game's deepest secrets. So take a deep breath, and let's descend into the fog. Our story centers on Shimizu Hinako. While she was once a cheerful and athletic child, the pressures of her family and society have made her restrained and unhappy. She despises having decisions made for her, preferring to make her own mistakes rather than follow someone else's commands. This fierce individualism puts her in direct conflict with her family, especially when compared to her sister Junko, who is seen as the golden child and the perfect traditional bride. The inciting incident for Hinako's personal hell is a decision made for her. Her father, deep in debt, has arranged for her to be married off to a suitor to clear the family's name. This act treats her as a commodity, a bargaining chip, which is the one thing her spirit cannot bear. But this is more than just a family drama. As the game reveals, Hinako's fate is cosmic. She is a rare child born with divine power, destined from birth to be the wife of the heir to the Fox Gods clan. Her arranged marriage isn't just a transaction. It's a divine destiny she is trying to escape. This immense pressure causes Hinako's psyche to fracture. Her own journal reveals that she feels there are 2 Hinakos living inside her. The original, the rebellious Shimizu Hinako, and a new subservient Hinako, who is trying to take over her body and accept her fate. This internal war is the core of the entire game, and the monsters she fights, often resembling twisted dolls and caricatures of marriage, are physical manifestations of her psychological trauma. Hinako's conflict is influenced by 2 key men in her life. The first is her arranged husband, the heir to the Fox Gods clan, known as the Fox Mask. It's revealed his real name is Tsuneki Kotoyoki, a childhood playmate Hinako had forgotten. He is the embodiment of her unwanted fate, a man who is himself under a spell that leads him to seek her out. From Hinako's perspective, he is like a prince from a fairy tale, yet his kind eyes can turn frighteningly sharp. He offers a seductive escape from her struggle, a life of comfort where she won't have to think anymore, where she can just follow his commands and be happy. This is the voice of the subservient Hinako, tempted to give up her will, her very soul, for a life without conflict. The other man is Shu, her childhood best friend and the one person she believes is her true companion and equal, her partner. Their bond was built on mutual respect, a safe haven from the gender roles they both rejected. Coming from a long line of physicians, Shu has a deep knowledge of medicine and often gets Hinako's medicine for her frequent headaches, building a deep foundation of trust. But Shu hides a dark secret. He exploits this trust, pretending to be her ally while secretly supplying her with drugs, the red capsules, in a twisted attempt to make her spiral into addiction. His goal is to sabotage the arranged marriage so that her suitor will reject her, allowing him to deceive his way into her life. Both men in her life are trying to manipulate her, leaving Hinako utterly and truly alone in her struggle. Hinako's internal war can end in 5 distinct ways, each representing a different resolution to her psychological torment. Let's break down every ending in order. Coming home to roost. Normal ending. This is the most straightforward and tragic ending, achieved by completing the game normally. Here, Hinako's rebellion against her father's wishes leads her to her banishment, and the trauma of this rejection festers. Fueled by the red capsules supplied by Shu, she spirals into a drug abuse, trying to quiet the darkness consuming her, but the addiction only delays the inevitable. In a final psychotic break, she dons a wedding dress and brutally murders her own parents. The post-credit scenes confirm she goes on to killing 2 more people, a grim conclusion to her complete mental breakdown. She fought her fate, but lost her mind in the process. Fox's wedding. Bad ending. In this ending, Hinako does not use the drugs and instead marries in accordance with her father's wishes. However, her compliance is just a fragile mask for the rage festering beneath, and she still murders her parents in a psychotic break. After a clash between her 2 selves, her original rebellious self is banished, and she is forced to drink an elixir that destroys her identity. The post-credit scene is heartbreaking. A faceless bride weeping that she doesn't want to end up like her mother. She gains her family's acceptance but loses her soul, becoming a hollow object with no identity of her own. The fox wets its tail. Good ending. In this ending, Hinako finds her strength. She stops doubting herself and lets go of the anger she holds towards her parents and her manipulative husband. She stands up to them, kindly acknowledging their efforts but firmly stating that she cannot be molded by their desires. She chooses her own path and walks away with her free will intact. However, this is only a good ending for her. It's implied the fox god was protecting the town from geysers with high arsenic concentrations. By rejecting him, Hinako dooms everyone in Ebisugaoka, whose residents are forced to evacuate. Her personal freedom is an act of selfishness that comes at the cost of her entire community. Ebisugaoka in silence. True ending. This is the most profound ending. Hinako realizes that higher powers are influencing her fate and her will. She confronts the gods and learns of her divine destiny. She is a rare, blessed child fated to marry the heir of the Fox Mask clan. After the battle, she comes to terms with her fractured self, and her 2 halves reconcile. Both versions of Hinako return to a peaceful town. Fox Hinako receives a letter from her suitor and considers a relationship with him, but this time out of her own free will. Meanwhile, the original Hinako is now free to decide her own path entirely. She has broken free from the divine rule and become the main driver of her own path, achieving true humanity. The Great Space Invasion. UFO ending. Finally, we have the UFO ending, a series tradition that is purely a joke. After completing a series of absurd tasks like finding movie posters and listening to all of the UFO radio broadcasts, you unlock a retro manga ending. In it, the kids joke about aliens causing the town's problems. Sakuko brings in a shady alien detector robot, and Shu gets a knuckle sandwich for trying to spill an embarrassing secret. It ends, of course, with a UFO piloted by barking dogs flying away. This ending has no deep symbolism. It's just the developers having some fun, much like in other Silent Hill games. So after 5 different endings, a divine conspiracy, a fractured psyche, and a town drowning in flowers and flesh, what is the ultimate story of Silent Hill F really about? This is the part where we step back and look at the board. We have all the pieces: a rebellious girl, a manipulative suitor, a treacherous friend, a divine prophecy, and monsters born from trauma. Now let's connect the strings. The first and most important strings connects everything back to one central point. Abisugaoka is not a real place. It is Hinako's personal hell, a world literally shaped by her internal war. This is the classic Silent Hill theme, and it's the key to understanding everything else. The doll-like monsters aren't random. They are her twisted, horrifying perception of marriage and womanhood. The entire conflict is a physical manifestation of her psychological torment. But what is that torment? At its core, this is a story about fighting for free will in a world that gives you none. Hinako is trapped in a prison of predestination. On one level, it's societal. The 1960s Japan setting where her parents treat her as a commodity to be sold off to pay off their debts. But the game gives this a terrifying supernatural layer. Her arranged marriage isn't just tradition. It's a literal divine fate she was born into, a destiny to be the wife of the heir to the Fox God's clan. She isn't just fighting her father, she's fighting the gods. And this is where the two men in her life become so important. Fox Mask isn't just a suitor, he is the handsome, seductive face of giving up. He represents the tempting happiness of letting someone else make your choices for you. On the other hand, Shu represents a different kind of manipulation. He pretends to be the champion of her free will, her partner, but he uses drugs to poison that will, trying to control her in his own way. Both men, the one forcing her into a fate and the one pretending to save her from it, are ultimately trying to rob her of her agency. This is why the endings are not just different outcomes. They are resolutions to the single core question of free will. In the normal and bad endings, she loses completely, becoming a slave to psychosis or her fate. In the good ending, she seizes a selfish freedom, but at the cost of everyone else. It's only in the true ending that she finds the answer. True freedom isn't just rebelling or complying. It's understanding the forces that control you and choosing to walk your own path anyway. All while reconciling all the parts of yourself to become whole and truly human. But now I have to turn the questions over to you. After connecting all the strings, who was the true villain of Hinako's story? Was it Fox Mask, the manipulative suitor who tried to force her into a divine fate she never wanted? Or was it Shu, the childhood partner who pretended to be her ally while poisoning her mind and betraying her trust? But let me know what you think. If you enjoyed this dive into the tragic world of Silent Hill F, please make sure to smash that like button, share and subscribe for more exploration of dark and fascinating horror games. Thanks for watching,